Hey guys, welcome to the Triple Take Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some anime. We're going to get down and dirty with the topics. My name is Frank, and I'm here with my boys.
Manny.
I'm Mega Weeb Joseph.
Mega Weeb Nerd Joseph. Don't forget the nerd.
I'm just an average guy. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy.
Just a guy that likes anime?
Just a guy that likes anime. I'll be an average Joe.
Nerd.
Well, either way, today's topic of discussion, we're going to be talking about how anime has a stigma in this world. So, we all, specifically me, believes that anime back in the day, especially back in the day, you'll see that kid running around in the hallways with his arms back, running like Naruto. And like a lot of people, let's be honest, like people will make fun of that kid, why is he running like that, all that stuff. But like recently, like especially in the common era, the common age, I've come to see that anime and the culture has really invaded the culture in terms of like a lot more people are starting to get onto anime. Like people used to think, oh, that's just cartoons. But like now I feel like the majority of people, the way it's been popularized has been able to really integrate itself into the culture, and people are starting to see that it's deeper than just cartoons. There's more to it than just all the popular stuff that's going around.
I think a lot of people just go off of the fact that like they just see the cartoon aspect of it and that just turns them off. And I think they don't actually like dive deep into it, because I think one of the biggest sayings around is that there's an anime out there for everyone. There's at least one anime that will catch your attention. And I feel like that is truth, and we should be a little bit more like, what's the word when you're like bringing stuff, like you're welcoming stuff, new stuff, I should say. What is that word? I've completely...
You lost me.
Oh, I lost? Oh. Well,
No, not that you lost me.
I lost.
I mean, if that makes you feel like you lost, then thank you.
I mean, all right. Well, I'm gonna say that I think people should feel a little bit more welcoming into new ideas and new things, and anime is one of those things that
I think you mean accepting of just something that's different.
I feel like there's a lot of synonyms for what he's trying to say. It's not just one word.
Oh, that's fair.
I just that word escaped me. Honestly, I will figure out the word, but
I'm gonna say it later randomly.
So I think when it comes to anime, I think a lot of people, especially like adults now, like they look at it and they think it's just for kids. And there are certain animes that are not even close to being for kids.
Nah, man, there's a lot of anime that definitely kids should not be watching.
But we think that this is something we should have brought up because, that little stigma of it's just for kids and it's not really like either good storytelling or that a lot of people find it very nerdy. That I think that's something that how Frank brought up about the culture, that culture's changing, and nerdy stuff is being more accepted in today's society.
It's cool now.
So I think a lot of people should just like change their views on anime and actually just give it a try, because what do you have to lose by watching one anime? Like I feel like that's not too far off.
I think anime has very much integrated itself into a lot of things, especially mainstream. Like before, you would never hear like how people would describe rap lyrics being or about that street life, but then you have actual lyrics or bars integrating anime references, such as, let's say, rapper A's being like, oh, I'm on the come up or whatever, but he'll put himself in relation to, let's say, Naruto, who literally had nothing growing up in his life, and he becomes the great leader that he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, came from the bottom like Naruto.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not musical, but
I mean, yeah, I think that's a good observation, because like I think like when it comes to like culture, specifically like in the United States, you got like rap, movies, TV shows, sports. Like you see so many people, like that one guy, the UFC fighter that comes in like Rock Lee.
Yeah, that's Israel Adesanya.
There we go. Like you got him, you got Michael B. Jordan doing a whole line with Coach, with a whole Naruto collab, Naruto and Coach collab.
and how Creed 3 was recorded in the sense of the cinematography aspect of how anime shots are shown.
Yeah, so it like me, like a person that like got into anime when he was like in middle school. It's really nice to see how much is integrated into the culture nowadays, and I feel like people are starting to become more accepting. You see a lot more kids with like the shirts on. You see a lot of more conversations about it. Like me, I'd be having random conversations with people when they have like the shirt on, or like something that like pertains to anything anime, and like I can have a strike a conversation. Before, like I feel like I couldn't really do that. It was more like a hidden thing people did because everybody thought it was like for nerds. But like I just like the fact that nowadays it's a lot more accepting for sure.
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people that I can honestly say that I was kind of embarrassed to.
You were embarrassed?
Yeah, I will admit that I was embarrassed to say that I watched anime and stuff like that when I was younger because I was afraid of being bullied. And I know
laughing at that.
You're laughing at
Don't
that?
laugh at
Wow.
That was very unexpected.
The man just poured out his feelings
Oh,
to you and
wow.
you just laughed at him.
Dude.
That's how insensitive are you? Like Madara.
I'm staring. You can't see it, but I'm staring a hole through your chest right now
Why the chest?
because I didn't think of a better word, and chest sounded cooler.
You know what? You know what you should have said?
What?
I'm staring a hole through your chest because I can't see your heart in there.
But either way,
Boom.
either way,
How
there
am I the antagonist here?
I don't know.
you turned.
This is just how anime is.
Either way,
Joseph was just trying to do some good.
most of the time, I will admit to being embarrassed for watching anime because I always felt like that's something that people would look at me and be like, "That's a little weird, dude." And it's something that I felt a little bit embarrassed about. Same thing I have with wrestling. A lot of people grew out of it, and then I felt embarrassed about it when I was still watching it, and I still do now. Same thing with anime.
Which I kind of find surprising that you said you started watching anime in middle school. But then for me, I guess because of my older brother, and like I lived off of a main road. I never had neighbors or anything. So growing up, it was just me and my siblings, and we didn't go outside to play because we just lived in the middle of nowhere. And Cartoon Network started doing Toonami, and they started bringing in anime. And I would say, I don't know, sometime in elementary school, then I started watching it. But I never necessarily felt bullied or disgraceful about it because that's all I had to like compare myself to anything. I just soaked it up like a sponge, and I was like, cool, this is cool. Every Saturday, looking forward to like the next episode of Naruto, or at the time One Piece, or whatever they had, because they had a lot of anime back then.
Dragon Ball Z was mine. Like me, like I'm the same way. I feel the same way as you, Joseph. Like that's why it surprised me a little bit when he said that he felt disgraced. Because like I know people would get made fun of it and stuff about it. The way they ran. Like I suggested, like running around the lockers and running to class, running like Naruto or whatever. But me, like I always thought, it's something I like to watch. It is what it is. Like it's just like me watching SpongeBob or me watching Teen Titans or anything in the Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. Like people probably would have thought like maybe like in middle school or high school, like that's weird. Like why you watching cartoons still? But like bro, like they're good. And it's just like that's why you can't call anime cartoons, bro. Cause like you have cartoons, yeah, like they have their own niche. Like they're usually PG. But then you have cartoons, air quotes. You got Rick and Morty. Like people, like technically that's a cartoon because it's animated, but people don't look at it as a cartoon. And I feel like that's the same way you can say that's the same thing with anime. Like you got things that's like for kids, and things that's definitely not for kids, like we mentioned earlier.
But wouldn't you say like, I mean, the reason why people use the term like anime is because mainly it's associated with Japan, whereas America, anything that's animated is typically referred to as a cartoon, but generally it's just all the same animated media.
I mean, yeah, you could say that. Like the way I look at it is like anime is more like a style, because like you even had like the Star Wars thing where they did like the anime. Yeah, so it's like you have Star Wars or Clone Wars. That's not considered an anime. That's considered a cartoon. But then you have that they got a bunch of creators, and one of them made an anime style Star Wars cartoon, air quotes. So it's like to me it's more of a style, because like for us it's weird. I feel like that's because like I don't think it was weird in Japan. Like Japan anime is normal because that's like their culture. Like they like in anime you see their culture, but here like most of their culture is like a little bit off putting for us because they have different customs and different things that they value compared to like people in America. So like I feel like a good example would be like their hot springs and like the fact that they just be going in there like it's a bunch of dudes naked. Like here, like you can't here you'll get arrested for being for doing something unsightly. So it's like I feel like that like kind of like a culture barrier is what made an anime like hard for people to think like it was cool, I guess. But after like, especially now recently, with a lot of people like wanting to go to Japan being open to the public after COVID, like this is whole thing, like a whole resurgence of like Japan, and like now people are starting to become more accepting of the Japanese culture, which in turns makes anime more accepted in the United States.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
I can see. I completely agree with you. That was very well said.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that was actually very well articulated.
Oh, thank you.
Big word. My word of the day.
Articulated? Oh, I thought it was dichotomy.
Oh, no, the dichotomy's up there. No, dichotomy's
Wait,
up
did
there.
you remember the word yet?
No.
Okay, bet. Just checking.
One day I'll figure out what dichotomy means, though.
So we talked a lot about like the anime and like how it is in the culture and what we see.
I was gonna say,
Nah,
find
man.
out next time on
Next
episode
time
3.
on Dragon Ball Z.
No, Triple Take Podcast, bro.
Next time on Triple Take Podcast. But nah, we're stupid. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we talked about like the anime and like our culture and stuff. In terms of like us personally, like what kind of animes do you guys like?
I'll let Joseph go first on this one.
Same way I felt about movies. As long as the story's good and there's constant development in the characters, the overall plot, and the actual world that this entire story takes place. For instance, one of my top animes, or probably my favorite anime, is Code Geass. And what I enjoyed about that is that each episode built off of itself in terms of main character's pursuit and endeavors and his ambitions, how he got his group together, and then how, as everyone pushed towards that common goal, each character was fleshed out, and the political aspects of their world was just explained through the cultural differences of, in this case, Britannia and Japan, and the oppression of that aspect. And even though people will meme it and say it's a show about terrorism, there's layers to it, and that's something that I appreciated above all else.
I think when it comes to Code Geass, one of the biggest things is the human connection that each of them have, one like with the main character and his group. I think their human connection, because they're all going towards one goal, and there's like little bit of side stories in between that have like that human connection, which I enjoy in my anime. And considering that it's not like the main focal point of the story, but I appreciate that human connection that Code Geass has.
Going off of what you just said, because it made me think about the word that I needed. I
got you. I can't find my word, but I got yours.
Because anime could literally be anything. Some of the story and content in it could be very much out of this world in terms of like you're seeing all this craziness, whether it be all the special effects, the fighting, the story, or anything. I just appreciate something more that when it's very grounded.
What do you mean by grounded?
Grounded meaning, let's say whatever anime has its story, it gives itself its foundation, and it sticks to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a sense of, the reason why I like Code Geass is there's a degree of realism to it in terms of how, like, the characters interact. Like, all their motivations and conflicts, whether they switch sides or whatever, all their actions are justified. Instead of things being black and white, it's very gray. And that's something I appreciate.
'Cause that's more realistic.
Exactly.
Okay. Not like some, let's say we call shonen anime, where like there's one obvious bad guy and one obvious good guy.
Well, like
both protagonist and antagonist, I should say.
Yeah, like there's some anime that don't have to be so in depth, and I'll really like such as Dragon Ball.
Yeah, so you don't always need to be serious.
Yeah, and at least for me, watching Dragon Ball in English is peak anime comedy to me. The relationship between or the chemistry between Christopher Sabat as Vegeta and Sean Schemmel as Goku.
Oh, like you see it really come out in like
Oh,
their
yeah.
voice acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Bouncing off of what you said about multiple perspectives, I think an anime I want to bring to the table is Attack on Titan.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I honestly believe.
I forgot that was a show.
I honestly believe
You haven't watched it.
that
Only one season.
there are multiple ways you could look at that world, and there is no right answer.
Especially when it gets deeper into it, yeah.
As you get more into the story, you start finding out certain things that happened in the past that have affected the future tremendously, and you look at it and you see you see one side's perspective, you see another side's perspective, and then you can see like almost like a side character's perspective on the way this world is shaping and the way the world is going to go. And for that, I agree with you, Joseph. I love when an anime or a story in general takes that and says, okay, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no bad guy. There is no good guy. There's just the way you see it and the way you think that this world should handle the situation that they're in. I think that that's one of the biggest thing that anime does, in agreement with you. And there are so many, but Attack on Titan, for me personally, is one of those multiple perspective animes that I hold high above the rest, even though they dragged it out.
You know, and it's just a business move. It's understandable. It was annoying because I wanted to see what was going on, but I understand why they were doing it. But to piggyback off of your guys' idea with the multiple perspectives, it's like, I feel like to go even deeper with that, it's like, it's really, in terms of those animes, specifically Code Geass and Attack on Titan, the main thing that I like about those, and like most animes in general, that comes to them like that's telling a story and like really building off of it, it's like, I like the fact that when you're following a character, you don't know anything beyond what that character knows or like that setting is until later, and then they start building off of that. Like as the knowledge becomes known to the people, to the main people and the main protagonists, that's how the story gets known to you. So in terms of Attack on Titan specifically, you think you're in this world, and then you're not, and then you're in another world, and then you think, okay, this is it, but then it's not, and it's something else. So like it keeps building and keeps like throwing you these curveballs, and it really keeps you on your toes, thinking like, dang, like what is real, what is not, like what is right, what is wrong, like. So it gets very political, in terms of that one too. But I just think that that's what really gives an anime depth, when you're able to build off of the world as the characters are going, and it gives you a kind of like a connection with those characters as well.
I dig when sometimes, not necessarily anime, but sometimes a good story should be able to stand on its own, even past the main character, with how the creators or writers or developers articulate everything within their thing. Because at the end of the day, the way I look at a good told story, or in whatever form of media, it should be a work of art on its own. And that's what I appreciate. And then nowadays, I just hate how, instead of it being about the art, the people that, pay the people that create all this stuff, pay their wages and everything, they're very stingy. And everything's about money in terms of studios themselves instead of the artists. Such as the struggle with Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, yeah.
And having to literally finish animating entire episodes, and granted,
It's because that studio took on way, like, a lot. And, like, without regard to, like, I feel like without regard to the workers. Because, like, unfortunately, I feel like in Japan, like, from, like, the videos that I've seen, and, like, the work environment isn't really the best. Like, people here wouldn't, I feel like most people here would not like the work environment over there. It's a lot of hard work. Not a lot of downtime, not a lot of vacation. Like, it's like you get looked at weird if you don't stay later, like, and put in more work. So it's like, for them it's normal. For us it's just like weird. Like, again, like I say, like I said before, the Japanese culture has been more accepted in America, but there's still some things that like we find that's a little off-putting.
Like there's not that equal footing of understanding.
Yeah, and like to be honest, like even like me, because I like watching a bunch of different types of animes. Like probably like my favorite anime right now is One Piece, right? So Manny would disagree. He calls it mid piece, but that's neither here nor there. E- even though everything he likes about animes is in that anime, but either way, it's neither here nor there. We're not in an argument about which anime is good or not at this moment yet, but I like One Piece. It's a very like overarching story, stupid long. I could definitely see that. Like I'm not blind, but like the fact that Oda, the creator, like took so much time to build even the smallest things just makes me appreciate it even more because like he builds something, he may not mention it for like 300-400 episodes and then brings it back and it's like the craziest thing ever, just one tiny detail. And then like the foreshadowing is crazy, all that stuff. I could sit and talk about One Piece all day, but either way, you have that type of anime. But I also like watching anime. It's like like when I want to go a little bit slower, I like watching my little romance animes. Believe it or not, yeah, my little romance animes. They're like not really romance, more like slice of life type of deal. Really like slow down, really get like normal, nothing crazy with powers or nothing like that. More human.
So you get that sense of realism.
Yeah, my sense of realism. It makes you, cause like especially when you see like the main characters going through like some troubles, and then like they kind of like uh, overcome them. It makes you feel good because it's like, oh, you get like attached to these characters and just like, wow, like they had these obstacles, they overcame them, and it makes you like feel nice. At least me, it makes me feel nice. So it's like all that, like another anime like that shows how anime can really go deeper in terms of just like crazy battles with fights and all this crazy things. It's just like a real slice of life, just like very human anime would be like either Erased.
I don't know that one.
Erased, Grammy nominated by the way. I'm not Grammy, I'm stupid. Oscar nominated.
I was like Grammy's music.
I always mix them up. It's fun. Oscar nominated by the way, really good. And I think I'm gonna butcher this. Anohana, which is a story about a group of friends that really evolves, and it's really sad, but like it really lets you know like how people can take things for granted, and like at least for me, like when I watch things like that, it makes me reflect on my own life and like how I can learn from this because I like to learn from everything. So things like that really like hit home for me. Like I have to be in specific moods, but either way. So, but yeah, like I feel like that's what makes anime more in depth than what people think, especially with those two types of animes. And to even piggyback off that, I'm sorry, I might be talking a little bit too much, but
No, you're good. You're good.
But like we have Japanese culture, right? From what I've seen, I haven't been there. So what I've seen is like
we haven't gone yet.
Yet. So from what I've seen, people over there like generally a lot more reserved. They don't really express too much emotions. Like even if they don't like you, like they won't really say it. Not like here, they'll probably tell you off or like let you know about it. You know what I'm saying? Pretty obvious. But over there, like they won't really like do all that.
What are you telling? Driving down the I-95, you get flicked off.
Exactly, like that. They ain't gonna do all that. They're not gonna do all that. From what I've seen, like with videos and people explaining like how it is to live there. But I feel like that really translates into their like animes or like just anything they create in terms of media, because even though they can't express it like outwardly, like in public, you can see like the amount of feeling that goes into their work when they're creating it. And like with in terms of like the way they work and like the way they work really hard and like overtime stuff like that, they really make sure that everything they do is the way that it's supposed to be, and like they have a really like hard working culture, so that really translates as well into their anime when you see everything.
I think when it comes to an anime, I think I learned something from. I'm gonna actually say it's Naruto.
Believe it.
I honestly, and I didn't learn. I learned something from I think the character Neji, because he starts off as a non-accepting person, a person who, within his right, he feels like his family, his lineage is being disrespected, and that he feels that they are the superior, they're superior, and then he ends up having a character, a small, very small character arc where he starts becoming accepting of people and accepting of the main character, Naruto, and accepting of his cousin.
Yes.
And, you know, going beyond the role of his family that is seen as something that's always going to happen, that you're always going to be this, and then you're never going to be able to be something else.
Yeah, he just like in terms of Neji, he wanted to be valued, but then he got humbled, and that's when he really learned the true meaning of like how he should be. And it's like that's just like a little part of like that anime. Like it's not even like a crazy thing. It's probably like a 2-3 episode long.
And it's a side story.
No, it's probably longer than that. It's like a little side story that they put in, but it's just like even those have can have tremendous impact depending on the person.
That's one of those animes that I think I learned something from. I would say Naruto. Mostly I haven't finished Shippuden. I'm so sorry, but eventually I will. And you know, I know stuff that happens, but
Because you spoil everything for yourself.
But I know where Neji goes and what happens, and I feel like that is the perfect ending to a beautiful character from where he started to where he finished. For sure.
That took a turn.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to say Neji because like there was a time when Manny didn't even like Naruto. So.
Yo, I'm getting deep.
We getting deep. I'm starting to see that heart in his chest, Joseph's chest.
Anyway, going off of longer anime, you like Naruto because the original show had like 270 something episodes, and then Shippuden has 500. So let's say it's a 700 episode anime.
Give or take.
It's a long anime, but at least in the world of Naruto, each character will have their moment. If Neji's arc and that humbling of his character happens within 3 or so episodes, in the grand scheme of 700, the creators continue building their world from their vision and gives the opportunity for the audience to have that and give the character that character development. For you, for Frank liking One Piece, was like over 1,000 episodes, right? So you get the creator, and what I find as a person that used to do a lot of writing stuff as a creator, I appreciate the creator of One Piece being able to take his vision, and he has spent decades literally working on and bringing it out, giving all those little intricate details that just cement the world that he has shown us.
Yeah. I think if you watch One Piece, you would really appreciate it.
I mean, I used to.
Especially, I know, but especially like where it is now and like the way everything has developed. Because I'm caught up, not with the manga, just with the anime. But like the way everything is now, you would really appreciate his story, building, his world building and story.
I mean, if I could just name at least one more that like off the top of my head had a very big impact in me, obviously it's gonna be Dragon Ball.
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
probably like the first anime I watched.
Yeah, I feel
that I
like
didn't even know it was an anime.
I feel like you, as a kid,
For real.
you were standing up screaming Kamehameha when he does it. Not even just that. I feel like he's in that small lesson he showed me is that, you know, again, I say almost similar to Neji, in the sense of he's born in a lower class. He's born as a low class warrior, and nobody expects Goku to become anything better than what they say he is.
Yeah, no, nothing better than low class.
And it's to me, it's that part of the story that always gets me. Granted, you know, now it's a little bit too much, but I still come back to it.
Bro, it's because you don't go, because like you have that like that plot, right? But you don't watch Dragon Ball, at least Z and up, Z and past. Or Dragon Ball was a little bit more like humanized, I guess, but Dragon Ball Z and past, like you don't watch that for like the story. You watch that to see something cool happen.
Even though they have like a big opportunity in terms of like character development,
yes,
such as Vegeta and what he went through in the Majin
Facts.
Buu saga.
Yes. Even just the whole series, honestly, from when he showed up to like now. It's crazy character.
And then after Dragon Ball Z, and you get Dragon Ball Super, and throughout the whole show, they didn't have extra development for Gohan,
No.
who per se at one point had the most potential or whatever, but they have a whole movie that hints at the greater development Gohan could have had.
You know,
And it's still going to have if you read the manga.
but you know what's I was starting to think about that recently because people were mentioning that same thing recently. Because I like to talk anime with the homies, like people that I know that like anime. I like to bounce ideas and like who's stronger, stuff like that. But either way, in terms of like Gohan, like I used to, because he's my favorite character in Dragon Ball, but because of like the way like he went from like being like a coward to like being like strong, but I understand why they made it so like he has the most potential, but then he kind of shied away from that. Because if you really think about it, he just had to be the guy that had to do it. Because you have Goku always getting stronger, so it's like, do you really need, in terms of like actual like character differentiation, do you really need another person doing the same exact thing?
Well, you do have that with Vegeta. I think it's more of, do
Exactly.
you want a third
Yeah,
that
exactly.
not an antagonist?
Yeah, so it's like you have Goku, but Vegeta is like a good counterpart to him, because like even though they're doing the same thing, they're doing it for completely different reasons. So it's like, and it makes it like a lot more dynamic, especially with their rivalry. But then you got Gohan, you don't have nothing in this fight, all that stuff. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It just made sense that he kind of had to be the bad guy to make the story progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for what I sort of wanted to see from Gohan, since technically he's half human.
Yeah.
And going through all of that from his perspective, I guess I wanted more of like a human perspective dealing with all this stuff, opposed to just Goku just accepting it. Like, okay, cool, we gotta deal with it.
I mean, he kind of did it when he went to school, but
I guess, but then like he ended up having his family, and
Yeah.
how that should have developed forward. I don't know. I just wanted more development from his character, opposed to him just having stronger powers.
yeah, but
you know
then
what I mean?
but then you're like, oh, it's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you just accept it for what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta accept it. You gotta accept it for the fights, and
Yeah.
the story's way past us.
Cause like in anime specifically, it's because what I like about anime in terms of like real shows, because I'd rather prefer watch anime than real shows. Like real shows to me like are too dramatized.
He means live action.
Yeah, live action, sorry, with real people, real live actors like doing things on the screen. But like I feel like they're too dramatized. But in terms of anime, it might be like exaggerated, but it feels more human to me than the actual like real actors things, because like I feel like the real actors, it feels like it's fake. You could feel it's fake, but like the anime, knowing it's fake, it surprises you when the emotions hit. So and I think that's what anime can do, like animation in general can do above like actual actors, because like there's just so much more potential for you to express things visually, with sound, and with plot. But with all that being said, we talked about like some of the animes that we liked, but what do you guys think would be good animes for people to start if like they're trying to get into anime, don't really know like where to start, because there's a lot of source material, a lot of media. So, well, what do you guys think if you had to say?
I think one great opening anime, if you are one of those people that doesn't mind gore, doesn't mind
AKA not for
like
kids.
adult themes.
Yeah.
Adult themes, I would say, I'm going back to it, Attack on Titan, because there's you're going to be introduced to a world of action, a political side, and almost in a sense there are some like horror survival aspects to that anime. And I believe that for someone starting out, if I can compare it to something like a live action show, it would be almost similar to something like The Walking Dead, where it's a survival, but in a sense, when you're in The Walking Dead, zombies aren't the only enemy or
Yeah.
threat. Is a better
there's
word.
a lot of depth to the
There's a lot of
danger.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to the danger. I feel that it's one of those that if you're looking for something like that, that's a great place to start.
And the story is way better than Walking Dead.
For me, I think a great starting anime would be Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Cause you see, following the main set of characters or following Gon's story, you see the kid grow up
As his journey goes.
Yeah. And how he he just grew up on the island that he grew up on and just being just a regular kid. But this regular kid has to go through some real adult stuff going on. And I dug his arc a lot. Plus his friendship with Kilo and how their dynamic sort of evolved and in a way kind of flipped in terms of how they approached their situations.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Especially, and that's good. That's good. I never really thought about that.
Because the anime doesn't have filler, or at least I don't notice any filler, but it eases itself into its depth.
So in terms of me, like I think I'm gonna give like recommendations for different types of anime for like different types of people.
Shoot.
So if you want like the shonen, which is like shonen anime would be like like you got the protagonist, antagonist, like they fight, they do this crazy things, like that's where you get like all the powers and all that stuff. Probably My Hero. It's very simple to get into. The story develops really, really well. There's some aspects that I don't think kids should be watching, but it's not that bad. Parental guidance is definitely suggested, especially later, but it's not that bad in the beginning. But just know it develops to something a lot darker later. That in terms of something you can watch with your family, you could definitely watch with your kids. It's funny, enjoyable for the whole family. Would be Spy Family. Very comedic, little bit of action, just like more like a slice of life, but it's really just like imagine just regular life living, but as a spy family, literally. So it just adds layers to it. Like there's adds layers to the animes that you could watch with Spy Family. Another one that would be a lot more darker, maybe a more adult theme, would be Erased. I mentioned Erased is short. All these are short. Well, My Hero's not that short, but because it's still ongoing. But it's definitely not as long as like something like Naruto or One Piece. I still suggest you should watch One Piece, but I understand if it's too long or overbearing for you. But either way, I would suggest that in terms of I would suggest Erased. It's a very it's a great developing story. Oscar nominated, very amazing. You can watch it. It's very short, probably like a season long. Maybe I think it's like 12 to 15 episodes, something like that. But to flip the coin, for other viewers that might be interested in sports, I suggest for people that like soccer. I suggest Blue Lock. Blue Lock is a really great anime. I also suggest Haikyuu for people that like volleyball, and for other ones I suggested are newer animes. But for an older anime, I would suggest Hajime no Ippo for people that like boxing. Hajime no Ippo, people.
I think you're forgetting about two other sports that you also have animes for.
Oh, so in terms of older animes as well, this might not be the ones you're thinking about, but you made me remember. It's Initial D. Initial D is a racing anime, like a street racing anime. If you like cars and stuff, 100% great anime to watch. Highly recommend.
So like Too Fast, Too Furious?
You mean Tokyo Drift, my guy?
Yeah, Tokyo Drift, that's the one. Oops. Oopsie.
Nah, you're stupid, bro. But which ones were the ones that you were talking about?
So the first one that came to mind was Kuroko
Basketball.
Kuroko Basketball. You knew what I was trying to say.
That's not stupid, bro.
If you like basketball, I think that's a great one. It's a little bit over exaggerated in terms of the movements and stuff like that.
No. If you know basketball and like how it's played and stuff, like it's definitely like ridiculous. Like you'll just laugh at how ridiculous it is, but it's still awesome.
The other one I have is for fans of baseball. Ace of the Diamond. Ace of the Diamond follows one specific team, and they go through a lot of trials and tribulations as a team, and it could be a little long and it could be a little bit repetitive, but it comes with that baseball knowledge and that baseball like love for the game.
Yeah, if you have the love for the game, it's definitely a good baseball anime to watch.
So moving back to me, I think another one I would recommend would be my first anime, which would be Death Note.
Oh yeah, of course.
And Death Note is for those people who like a psychological, mental thriller.
Again, not for kids.
No, not at all. So it's a mental battle between the protagonist and the antagonist, and it's another one of those that has that multiple perspective aspect where you could see both sides being right and wrong. So I think that's another one that is well recommended for your first anime.
I'm gonna take it a little different, and instead of recommending a show, I'm gonna recommend an anime movie.
I know what you're talking about.
I don't.
Of course you don't.
This movie was considered a cultural phenomenon when it did came out. Akira. You ever seen those in motorcycle shots in movies and TV shows where they have the rider just sort of drift and brake their motorcycle? That came from that movie. And it also introduced a new color, Akira Red, that was made specifically for the movie. And everything in that film was hand drawn. You could see how the animation is as smooth as it is with the frame rate. Every second of that movie, 60 frames, all hand drawn.
Man, if you actually see that movie and with that, just knowing that fact alone elevates it to like a crazy level. Just the fact that you know that. Because it's amazing. In terms of animation.
Not a kid's movie.
Definitely not. Oh yeah, nah, that's definitely not a kid's movie either. But it's an awesome movie though. But anyway, to wrap things up though, I would like to say that we have recommended you some animes that you could start with, and even an anime movie for various different types of people. But I also implore you, and that if you look into the animes, you figure out what you like with these ones that we suggested, or just look at the popular ones, that I encourage you to branch out and find your own little niche animes like everyone usually does. I know we did it. And I think you'll have a great journey in the world of anime.
Yeah, so if you don't check it out, I think I'll write my name or your name in my notebook. You'll understand that reference. Just watch the anime, Death Note. Watch it.
Okay,
Nerd.
That was a little bit of a...
That was very on the nose.
That was forced.
That was forced.
I like it, though.
This is what Death Note does to you.
Especially if you watch it like 18 times.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Anyway,
17.
Thank you guys for listening to the Triple Take Podcast. I'm your boy Frank.
I'm Manny.
I'm Joseph.
And have a great day.
See you.